I don't really go on vacation. 1, it's too expensive. 2, it's too expensive. And 3, I'm broke.
He ain't nothing but a broke boy.
And even if I wasn't broke, sometimes I'm looking at the prices of how much a vacation costs, and I think the amount of things I could be spending my money on. A trip to Disneyland is not just a trip to Disneyland. You gotta think about like hotel fees, travel fees, plane tickets, and you'll spend all of that to wait in some long-ass line and to take a picture of a guy dressed as Mickey Mouse. And some of you might go, well, why are you hating on Disneyland? Well, I'm not hating on Disneyland. I'm just saying, with the amount of money it costs to go to Disneyland, there's so many other things I could spend it on. And I'm sure Disneyland is worth it to some people. I just never been that big of a Disney fan. Bottom line, vacations are expensive. And I don't see myself ever actually spending money that I need to go on vacation. However, I will go on vacation when someone else is paying for it, which happened to me recently, and I'm very grateful. I got invited to go on a cruise on the east side of the United States. Now, I don't fly too much. I've been on a plane maybe like 6, 7, or 8 times, and I swear, every single time on a plane, I think about the same thing. This plane is going to crash. And maybe it's the fact that I'm not a frequent flyer or that my brain is corrupted by media, but every single time I get on a plane, it is like one of the scariest experiences. Now, I wouldn't say I have a fear of flying. I'm not in the seat shaking and screaming, but every single time we hit some turbulence, I feel like I'm not the only person on the plane that immediately resorts to, oh my gosh, we're going down. I haven't wrote my will yet. Have you wrote your will yet? Really? I think it's just the thought that it could happen. Yeah, they say flying is the safest form of travel, but planes have crashed. Planes crash all the time. It's like every time I hop on a plane, I'm signing a contract that says I'm okay with the possibility of losing my life. I don't know. Maybe for me, it's just hard to trust other people. I have to trust these pilots to land the plane safely. I mean, who knows? Maybe the pilot's daughter has a snap score of 1 million. What's stopping him from sending that plane nose down? Perfectly reasonable crash out. Just not if I'm on the plane. But I don't think that's actually the worst part of flying. So what is the worst part of flying? The seats? The service? No. The people. See, I'm just your typical average American working citizen, which means when I get on a plane, I am riding economy, usually in the very back. If your seat is past like the 20th aisle, that's how you know you don't have that much money. And you're usually sitting with people you don't know who also don't have that much money. And when you're close together like that, it's just awkward. And maybe your opinion is different from mine. Maybe you like talking to the people in the airplane. Me? I don't. Don't get me wrong. I like talking to people. I talk to people all the time, but on an airplane, I'm good. I actually like airplanes for the fact that I get to sit down and watch like a movie with no worries other than the thought of the plane crashing for like 5 hours. So if I sit next to someone who introduces themselves and starts talking to me, then that kind of puts pressure on you. You have to know this person for the next 5 hours. I feel like it makes it more awkward if you talk to someone. Let me put this in perspective. You know when you're in a car ride with someone that you like kind of know but don't really know, and you just sit there in silence? What do you do? But if you're on an airplane and you choose not to talk to a person, there's no pressure to say anything. I don't know. Maybe I'm just sounding a little antisocial. But airplanes make everyone feel a certain mood. And the point of this video was not to talk about airplanes. And I want to move on, but I do have to say this. Some people on airplanes are like the most selfish people in the world. And I don't mean like the person in front of you putting their seat down slightly or like the person next to you using the armrest. I mean the fact that some people are so impatient. I had a connecting flight that was boarding right when my first flight landed. And if you've ever had a connecting flight, you know that you usually have like 20 to 30 minutes to get to your other gate. In this scenario, it was more like 5 minutes. So as soon as we landed, there I was sitting, waiting to get off this airplane so that I could get to my connecting flight. A couple seconds later, one of the flight attendants comes up and says, "Can those of you who have a connecting flight, please raise your hand so we can get you guys off first?" And I'm over here thinking like, oh my gosh, that is so nice of them. I'm gonna raise my hand. But I guess every single person on that plane that day had a connecting flight, because when I raised my hand and I looked up, it seemed like 90% of the plane had their hands raised in the air. Anyways, I finally got off the plane like 20 minutes later, and then I started sprinting, immediately sprinting to the next gate, praying to someone above that I would make it. And to my surprise, every single person who got off that plane who was in front of me was walking. I mean, their gate must have been like right there. Because, you know, they wouldn't lie about something like that, right? These good people, these good Americans, they would never lie like that. By the way, if you were on United Airlines flight 2243 from LaGuardia to Chicago at 6:40 p.m. on August 31st, 2024, count your days. Count your days. I did make it to my gate, but I did actually get a leg cramp while doing it, and I still fully blame everyone else. Okay, sorry for getting carried away. Vacations. What about vacations? There are so many highlights and lowlights of vacations, and things to be happy about and things to complain about. And I mean, I shouldn't be complaining because my vacation was totally free, but that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Part of traveling is really talking to other people too. I mean, yeah, some people would rather sit in their hotel room drinking some tea and watching the latest Lana Rhoades drop rather than go out in the area that they're in and talk to locals. I think the way people act socially nowadays is a lot different than, you know, it used to be with the rise of social media and really just the youth. But there's always some instances where even if you are the type of person who doesn't like to talk to people, you're kind of forced to talk to other people. And if you're one of those people who just can't talk to anyone for any reason, please stop watching this video and go outside. Because y'all are probably the people who still be wearing COVID masks. A good example of having to talk to someone is Uber rides. Now, I live in a super small town. There is no such thing as Uber here. Do I know what Uber is? Yes, I'm not exactly living under a rock. I've probably been on an Uber less times than I've been on a date, which isn't a lot. Now, I'm sure being an Uber driver is probably pretty stressful if you have customers throughout the day. Some customers can be real knockers. I've been on probably 5 Uber rides by now, which isn't a lot, but it's not like I need to ride Uber all the time. And if you ride Uber all the time, just get a driver's license. It's not that hard. So it's a little weird, because I swear, like 3 out of the 5 Uber rides I've been on have consisted of my driver rolling their window down and yelling at another driver, which I know isn't uncommon, but it's also like, bro, you have someone in the back seat. I mean, when I'm driving, I get cut off all the time, but I don't ever roll down my window and start yelling.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Unless the person has one of those Demon Slayer stickers on their window, then I start yelling. Maybe it's just the fact that they probably drive more than me and are probably fed up with all the stupid drivers out there. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't be either, but if I've been on 5 Uber rides and 3 of them have had that happen, then those ratios aren't looking too good. And then I feel bad when after the ride, 15 minutes later, it asks me how big of a tip I'm gonna leave. Like, yes, of course I'm gonna tip, but then I'm like, how much do they deserve? Which leads me to another topic of tipping.
Thank you. Wait, I think you forgot the tip. I think you forgot the tip. Tip is penis. Drive.
Dude, tipping culture has become one of the most fucked things in the US right now. Or maybe in any other country. I don't know. I live in the US. Now, I'm not an expert on when and when you shouldn't tip, but it just felt like on this vacation, we were tipping absolutely every single person, no matter what they did. I mean, you could be playing basketball, and if someone passed you the ball, they would stop the game and hold up a little iPad with some percentages on it. But honestly, I think that's a topic that I can make a whole nother video on. So I think I'll do that. So during this vacation, I was traveling with people who were mostly older than me. And I'm sure that's not uncommon. You know, your parents or grandparents are usually the ones taking you on vacations. But for this particular vacation, I was like the only young person in my group, which meant I was doing absolutely everything technical with them. You know when your grandparents ask you to change the source on a TV and you do it, and then they think you're some sort of genius and tell you should go to college for it? That was me the whole trip, which meant I was there to book the Uber rides, to book the hotel, and to order food to the hotel, etc., etc. But other than technicalities, I had to withstand the physical difficulties of vacations, which meant sitting or sleeping in the less comfortable areas or carrying everyone's luggage in the airport. Like, bro, how am I supposed to find my airport love interest if I look like this? And I know I'm not the only person who thinks that. Like, when I see someone my age walking at the airport, I immediately start thinking about marriage and what our life would look like together. But anyways, here's some more things I noticed while on vacation. When you are on vacation with other people, they expect you to act differently. Now, I don't think I've ever been known as the best dressed person. I have my own style, but my style just happens to be very basic. And I don't mean like the white Air Forces basic. I mean, I go in my closet and pick out a pair of pants and a sweater, and that's my outfit for the day. But the people I was traveling with were super persistent on the fact that I needed to bring a suit. So I packed that suit. You know, full Barney Stinson, bow tie, dress shoes, pants, everything. Looking like I was about to sell you the latest Range Rover. And this part might not be true. Maybe this is just my opinion. But I am not exactly the tallest person out there. I'm about 5'9" with my shoes on. And I really just don't think short people look good in suits. I'm sorry to anyone in the audience who might be 5'9". We are not tall. Please stop thinking we're tall. I mean, I really don't know how to describe it, but if I look up a picture of a short person in a suit, it just looks unproportionate, especially if everyone's much taller than them. And don't get me started on them dress pants. That ass to calf ratio does not look good. There is a reason society has converted to baggier pants. And again, I want to apologize to all my short kings out there. As I said earlier, I'm not exactly the tallest out there either, but if you're like 5'5", just grow. No, I'm just playing. But do keep your head up, literally. My point is I would never be wearing a suit like that if I didn't have to. But other than that, there's a lot of things that come with vacations that I wouldn't be doing if I didn't have to. Like eating different types of foods. And food is one of the biggest things in vacations. You have people eating all sorts of foods no matter what kind it is. And it's seen as disrespectful if you don't eat a type of food that a culture provides. Which in a way it is. But I swear, some people will put literal shit on a plate and expect me to eat it, calling it some fancy name like balut, which is like a duck fetus, apparently, in some country. And again, I'm not hating on balut. I just personally would never try it. If you like balut, go ahead. I'm sure it's great. Actually, if you've had it, leave down in the comments if you like it or not. Don't make me eat it. I think it would make the world a better place if people understood that some people just don't want to do certain things, and that goes beyond food. Like, if I don't drink, don't ask me to drink. If I don't smoke, don't ask me to smoke. And if we're on the ocean and I want to order some chicken strips instead of some seafood, please don't judge me. I swear, whenever I tell people I don't eat something like seafood, the reaction is always like, oh, you don't eat seafood? Just try this, trust me, you'll like it. No, I'm 19 years old. I know what I like by now. I'm not telling you to stop eating seafood. I'm just saying I don't really like it. And there was this buffet on the cruise that had like all these food items listed. And I felt so judged because the food items that I wanted were listed under the kids section. That mac and cheese looked so good, but it was under the kids section. And if something's listed under the kids section, I just feel like I can't order it. It's like if you go to a Mexican restaurant and order a cheeseburger. If you go to a Mexican restaurant and order a cheeseburger, you are racist. The only excuse is if you're like under 10, because some 10-year-olds be picky as fuck. But if you are a grown-ass man ordering a cheeseburger from a Mexican restaurant, here's your racist card. Take your racist card. And for some reason, my mind was like, no, you can't eat it if it's in the kids section. It wasn't until I saw someone who clearly was much older than me take food from the kids section to where I felt comfortable taking food from the kids section. Another thing I realized while on vacation was how much of a scam certain tourist shops are. Yeah, souvenirs are cool and all, but what I really want is some nice clothes to show people. But my gosh, are they all expensive? I swear, like 75% of the clothes at tourist shops are just Gildan brand printed t-shirts that just say the name of the place that you're at. And if you don't know what a Gildan branded t-shirt is, go into your closet right now and look through all of your t-shirts. I bet you have one. If they had like a nice embroidered sweater, I would buy it. The thing is, they didn't. The funny part is you'd see these t-shirts in display on the stores for like $25. Then you'd walk down 10 stores and see the same exact t-shirt for $20 off. And that's really all I can think of to rant about. It was a pretty good vacation. I did not expect this video to be about 15 minutes long, so I apologize. But if you made it this far, Thank you. Let me know if you did. I want to end this video by saying when I went to Boston, they charged like $40 to dump tea in the harbor. Like, wasn't the point to get rid of the taxes?